It's my feel-good breakfast show.
We're continuing our discussion with a national treasure, that is Teko Modise, an unbelievable player, but also a servant of the game of football and South African football, someone who has served us on every level, including the national, a star for Bafana Bafana, and of course a guy who's enjoyed a lot of time in the public eye. Teko, thank you so much for sticking around, my friend. I've loved catching up with you, and as I said to you earlier in the show, I really do miss watching you play, but I've got to ask, because you were one of those players that people loved to see, loved to focus on. Newspapers, magazines, everyone loved to follow what you were doing. Did you find that pressurizing? How did you cope with the fame of football? Because you were one of the first in South Africa, let's be honest, to become a real bona fide celebrity in the game of football. Was that difficult, or did you love it, looking as good as you do?
You know, I think because in football also you never get taught how to handle fame, and I think it's one of the biggest drug actually that disturbs or that distracts so many footballers' careers in the country, and that also comes with so much responsibility. And for me, as I couldn't live my life because I was under so much spotlight. So anything that I did, if I coughed, everybody know that I coughed. So for me, I had to move differently, and that changes your personality as well. I think a lot of my personality changed. And I started losing myself because I started living for other people and not for myself. And I've always wanted to be in the conversation of the legends when I've retired. And I benchmarked that with Dr. Khumalo, because I think he's one of the biggest brands in the country. When he's retired, this is a guy that's retired more than 30 years ago, but everybody still knows his name.
And in a time when not a lot of players were getting that right, but of course now you get to be that voice within the industry and still have that influence on other younger players that are coming through the ranks.
Yeah.
Now you have an opportunity to think about you, what you want to do, no pressure. You can take this in any direction you choose. The commentating is awesome. We love that phase of your career. And I think you're going to be doing that hopefully for many, many years to come. You mentioned coaching as a possibility in the future. Is that something that you'd really like to do? And how do you see yourself working into that? Have you set yourself a goal, 3 years, 2 years, 5 years, next year? What's the goal there?
The goal is for me to be the student right now, to learn as much as I can. For me, I don't want to coach just for the sake of coaching. I want to have the passion for it, and I'm still building that passion. And I want to do the right things. You know, I want to be in a good team. I want to be, because being a good coach, it all depends on the good players that you're coaching. So I want to be in a position where I'm coaching good players so that they can make me better. And for me, just now, I just want to learn and learn and learn. And whenever that opportunity comes, and hopefully I'll be ready, and I'll take it.
With your BMT, buddy, I know you'll be ready. I'm just dying for you to pop up at a team that you've played for. That'd be great. But I don't want to put additional pressure on you. And we've seen how awesome it is right now for former players, for a player's coach in the modern era of football. So look forward to seeing that. So I've got to ask, because you're unbelievably well-groomed, you've always looked good. When you talk about that personal brand, a big part of that has been how you've taken care of yourself. Why do you think that it's so important to be well-groomed, to look after your self-care, if you will?
In the industry we're in, it's important what you say and how you say it. And you also want to be in a position where whatever that you say, you look presentable so that you can be believable as much as you can, because we're in the limelight, we're always on TV. You want to look good. For me, always looking good and feeling good has always been part of my personality, even when I was still playing. And I continue with that even off the pitch. And that's how I take grooming very, very seriously, because it's part of who I am.
I love that, man, and it can make a massive difference how you're feeling. Maybe a bit of a superstition creeping in before a game, but it can make a massive difference to your mentality and how you're feeling. So let's talk to the young footballer on the up and up. Maybe you can give two of your top tips or tricks to always looking well-groomed. How does the general do it?
Look, I think there's one thing that footballers normally don't pay attention to, especially in terms of our skin. For me, I always take care of my skin. I always I make sure that, every morning and every night before I go to bed, I make sure that I cleanse my skin and moisturize it. I make sure that, I shave. I make sure that also, I use the right tools to do that. Luckily now, I'm an ambassador of the new razor blade Flex 2. And with that as well, I use the shaving cream. make sure that my skin doesn't get irritation, because I don't want to have been having pimples on TV and, that will disturb how I feel. So I use good products. And for me, the tips are make sure that your skin is moisturized enough, and for you to be able to apply that whenever you actually use the razor, make sure that you use that direction where your hair is growing. And what's important is after you've done that, apply the moisturizer again so that your skin becomes softer and then it doesn't get any irritation. And also drink a lot of water. And that's what I do. I think it's good for your skin as well.
The problem is then it keeps you looking so young that everyone thinks that you should still be playing, dude. You should still be playing, man. I think they are lucky to have you in their corner, my friend. I know they really appreciate you, and we really appreciate you for everything you have done and are still doing for the game of football. Cannot wait to interview you again when you get that first coaching job, but keep enjoying the work that you're doing so well at the moment. What a pleasure and an honor catching up with you, my friend. You are a legend.
Nah, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, man.
There you have it from the legend himself. Establishing a men's grooming routine might feel a little bit daunting, but maintaining a well-kept appearance and taking time out for self-care is worth the effort. And with BIC Flex 2, you simply cannot go wrong.
2 flexible blades for a smoother shave. Open blade architecture for an easy rinse. Choose BIC Flex 2 for a closer, smoother shave.